So.
Live already.
So you're not using the other two cameras, right? You're only doing that one that's official. No fancy schmancy.
No fancy schmancy. Today.
This one's.
I don't know if it's on yet. Is it on?
And this one is on. You're live.
It's on?
Yeah. You want to be live? You're live. Cool.
Yeah, a few lights are good. Tell me when we're online.
You live?
Live, NYC,
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
All right. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Chandavali Paschatya Rishitarine Haribo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jina Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Hari Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanandi. Om Ajnanatimanandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Mayam Dadati Svapadantikam Jayasi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripadamaham Vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. The topic is how to find your mission in Srila Prabhupada's vision. Srila Prabhupada came here to New York City in 1965 with a small pair of cartels and a few books. And the instructions of his spiritual master to spread Krishna consciousness in the English-speaking language. So Srila Prabhupada, he showed us the formula how it can be done. And the formula still works because the process is not temporary. It's the eternal process of parampara, as we heard recently. So there is a lot of noise, there is a lot of distortion and distraction and all different types of opportunities to get sidetracked. Have you noticed that New York can be a bit of a distracting place? You know what that interference is? This thing? Better? Better. Okay. So, Srila Prabhupada very much in the mood, if there is a microphone and a speaker, we don't mind. Very much in the mood of Lord Ramachandra, he worked with who he had. That was monkeys, bears, vultures, dwarfs, and all kinds of other living entities. Now we have a lot of troop movement here. Don't get distracted. You have to stay focused. Okay? So the topic is how to find your mission in the vision of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said, my vision is I want to spread Krishna consciousness everywhere, at once. That's a pretty big vision. Would you agree? That's pretty broad, that's pretty big. So I think that will accommodate all of us. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
We need a verbal yes here.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So now, how to find my mission in that vision of Prabhupada, that's what we're going to talk about in the next hour. Change of gear. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Better?
Yes.
Yes. But it's always good to bring your own, okay? Just in case. Because plan B has to be there. So Prabhupada came here and he tested the waters in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now Butler is a small place. Not even the people in Pennsylvania know where Butler is. But Prabhupada was happy to start small. And Gopal and Sally, they arranged, Sally especially, she was arranging a few programs for him. He went to Slippery Rocks College and Professor Larson. He had a talk there at the college. And afterwards, Prabhupada asked him the question. You want to know how Prabhupada distributed books? You wanted to know how Prabhupada's formula was?
Yeah.
Well, his first set of books he distributed to Captain Pandey on the boat. He thanked him for all the hospitality. The captain had given him a private cabin, special rations for his meals, etc. So Prabhupada showed his gratitude and he gave him a set of Bhagavatams. And Captain Pandey gave him a donation of $20. And that was the first real money that Prabhupada had, with which he started here. So it all started with book distribution. Then he told Professor Larson that I have brought these books all the way from India for very special friends. So he offered him friendship. What do you think? Did Professor Larson accept Prabhupada's friendship?
I think so.
I think so, yes. Absolutely. Are people looking for friends?
Yes.
Are people doing outrageous and stupid and ridiculous things to get friends?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you sincerely offer somebody friendship, they will accept it. So don't go out there try to convert people. Would you like to be converted? We can initiate you right before lunch. No, people don't want to be converted. People don't want to be, but they like to be inspired. They like to have someone who actually shows their care by offering them friendship. So empathy is not a t-shirt or a slogan or a tattoo. It's actually the universal language that everybody speaks. Confirmed?
Not mine.
And it is helpful to learn that language because you will notice that you will meet people who, even though they may speak the same language, it's hard to reach them. Have you noticed how it's hard to reach people sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to use a different type of language, a different type of approach in order to reach them. We'll get there in a minute. I'll just talk a little bit about how Prabhupada reached people. Then when he came to New York, he placed his books in bookstores. About 5 or 7 stores would carry these 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada, every 15 days, he would go by these stores and restock the books and collect money. That's how he maintained. Did you read his diary in New York? Where he said like 25 cents for bananas and 15 cents for postage. And he did not take the bus, he walked because he didn't have the money. Sometimes he went to bed hungry because there was no money. So one lady in a bookseller, she asked him, "Are you from India?" And he said, "Yeah." And she said, "I love India. I love Indian food." And he said, "What food do you like?" She said, "Samosa." So Prabhupada, the next time, he cooked samosa and brought her samosa. Why? Because friendship. Because she was part of his Sankirtan team. So you have a vision, you have a mission, you have a project. Many of you are young in life and in Krishna consciousness. So I'm sure this angst or this opportunity of will I reach my full potential, will I do something of magnitude, will I do something that will make impact, that will make a difference. Has this crossed your mind?
Yes.
Or is it just me?
Yes.
We're not just here killing time till time kills us, right? We notice the difference of having a mission and having a vision. So then, how to deal with that? How to deal with that? You have to build a team. Like Prabhupada, he brought her samosas because she was his Sankirtan devotee. She was part of his Sankirtan team. So if you want to do big things, you have to create teams. You write that down on your mind map or on your whatever device it is. You take a screenshot, okay? Build teams. But that means I have to be a team player. What does that mean? I have to pass the ball. I have to empower other people. I have to learn how to delegate. I have to learn how to build trust and rapport. And I have to learn how to appreciate others. That your success is my success because it's the team's success. And your struggle and your pain is my pain because it's the team's pain and the team's struggle. So that is something that we have to recognize. And it's hard, it's a new concept, especially here in the big bad city, where expediency and rising to the top is pretty much the norm, so to speak. But as I tell people here in New York, that if everybody keeps screwing everybody, no one's going to feel the love. In other words, if people keep on taking advantage of each other, like I cheat you, you cheat him, he cheats him, and the other guy cheats me, then nobody really will be happy. In other words, there will only be losers. And people get this, they get this kind of idea. And New York is a place where you can be very direct. Have you noticed? Do you like it? Yeah? You can be very direct in New York. But you have to learn how to maintain tact and Vaishnav behavior, because sometimes one can get a little carried away and overshoot the target. So if I do so, please remind me, okay? That's why we need Sangha. Because the team is not just there to do more work, the team is also there to keep me accountable. To keep me accountable to our tradition, to parampara. Because I'm not just here to sell a product or build my own little God empire, but I'm here actually to come closer to Krishna, to please Srila Prabhupada, to please Guru Parampara. And that brings us to point number one. If you do project management, what's the first question you have to ask yourself? Like many of you are embarking on projects, what's the first question to ask yourself?
Why?
Okay, we got why, what else?
What is
How?
How? Okay, somebody said what? Okay, in sequence, what always comes first? Because you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't really make a difference. So what is it that we're trying to do? Harinam Sankirtan, right? What does that mean? Spreading the holy name, expanding the glories of Krishna through chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, through the distribution of Srila Prabhupada's books, through the distribution of Transcendental Prasad, and then inviting people in a welcoming environment, like we have here, and helping them to get into the practice of bhakti. So, it's good to revisit the what. What is it that we're trying to do here? Because sometimes we get carried away and we think, I'm trying to do other things. Have you ever had that issue, that problem? That you got a little sidetracked and it became more about money or about position or about power or about fame or about so many things. I lost more friends to social media than to guns, drugs, and girls, like social media. What happened to him? Oh, he became famous. Now he's just talking to the camera. He doesn't talk to people anymore because he's talking to cameras. Have you had that experience with certain people? So, if you want to have a life, just stay grounded. And that helps when you have a Sangha that keeps you accountable. Sangha means peer association. A peer is anybody who can challenge you. Do you have peers? Or you're already the old guy and nobody tells you anything? Because you're that European guy, right? So you're the Russian guy, she's the Indian girl, you're from Africa, that guy, we don't know, he's weird, we don't talk to him, right? Find mentors, find guides, find friends, but peer means anybody who can challenge you, anybody who can put you up to your stuff, What happened? Today in class, There was maybe 6 people there. Where was the rest of us? All cooking for Radha Govinda? All dressing Radha Govinda? I doubt it. I doubt it. So that's why we need a team. And that means peer association, because that will make us strong. Otherwise, the vultures, they start picking on the stray, animals, on the ones who are doing their own thing, going their own ways. The vultures, the wolves, the jackals. Any other creatures? Crocodiles, raccoons. Yeah, they always pick on the ones that are out on the fringe, who are out doing their extracurricular stuff. So don't underestimate Maya. Prabhupada said, this one disease that you Westerners have, you are not afraid of Maya. How long does sex desire last?
Forever.
Forever, yes, exactly. There's no age for Maya. So, but of course, we're not here in fear-based religion. We want to see the positive, but it's still good to, you can't be naive, because naive gets you killed, especially in New York City. It's pretty aggressive. This city is marketing, everyone's recruiting, everyone's selling something. Have you noticed? And if you're not clear about the what is it that I'm trying to do, you will be sold on some idea, on something. By the way, the sun is always up there. It's us who feel a little jaded by the clouds and the rain. As we say in the Swiss mountains, there's no such thing as bad weather, there is only bad attitude or inadequate clothing. So, if the what is clear, then the next question is the why. Why are we doing this? Why defines the motivation, the purpose. So your homework for this week is write down the 108 reasons why you want to do Harinam Sankirtan. Does that sound like a good task? Yeah? Why not? Give me 300 words. It's only 2 pages, not a big deal. Okay, start with your 5 burning reasons. What gets you out of bed? What keeps you up at night? In French it's called la raison d'être, the reason to be. Do you have something that's actually moving you forward? Or is it just breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is it just getting by, just having a place to stay? After a while, all these external reasons are not good enough anymore. Because you can fulfill them in other ways. But you have to have a burning reason why you want to do what you're about to embark on. As we see in Prabhupada's life, there was plenty of reversals. He faced a lot of hardship, a lot of pushback from different sides. And it's good to read Prabhupada Lilamrita. How many of you have read the full Prabhupada Lilamrita? Okay, the others, please do so. Please get into it. It's really inspiring. Prabhupada crying alone in the wilderness in India, and then also here. And basically Prabhupada saw success in 73, 4, 5, 6, and 7, last 5 years of his life. But it was a struggle all the way. So, then the why is clear. You have your personal reasons why you're doing this. Not only, people will ask you sometimes, right, why are you doing this? You noticed? Then you have to kind of communicate it in a way that's relatable to them. Your own mind also asks you sometimes why you're doing this. Have you had that? Do you have a mind? Do you have an internal dialogue with your mind sometimes? Yeah? It's good to work on that dialogue, right? Because if I lose courage, if I lose motivation, nothing moves. Have you noticed? If you don't have that conviction that this is the right thing to do, that this is what I really need to be doing in my life right now, then nothing happens. You won't really have much impact. And then we get to the how. How includes who, where, when, etc. All the other sub-points. And those are important, but they're not so difficult to figure out. Those are circumstantial. So just a little bit of feedback. I saw the Harinam in the last few days, and I noticed the tendency that we build a huddle. You know what a huddle is? like we're just huddling together and we're kind of going in a circle and looking inward. Have you noticed that tendency? And nobody actually projects and makes eye contact. Nobody really actually engages with the crowd. Nobody smiles. Nobody dances. The book table is empty. No one's out giving out flyers. And then I distribute books around, and people sometimes ask me, "Are you with these people?" And I look at the Harinam and they say, "No, I'm not with those people." Confirmed. But sometimes the Harinam is vibrant and the devotees are actually blissful. They're actually sharing their happiness with the public. And I very proudly say, yes, this is what we do. This is who we are. But it depends. Again, it depends. So, before you go out the door, look into the mirror and not just ask myself, is my tilak straight? Or did I shave today? But would I like to meet this person? If not, why not? What can I do to improve? There's a saying, you should dress before you address. You should dress for the taste of others, but you should eat for your own taste. So, but mainly it's about attitude. People take one look at us and they will decide, I want to talk to you, I want to become like you, oh, I want to be as far away from you as possible. Have you noticed? They just make a big curve. Have you noticed? When they see you the first time, they just, and no matter how fast you run and you want to tackle them, and you know, it's not going to work because they already made up their mind. So how do we improve our attitude? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And don't be a minimalist. Don't show up late and leave early and just come to tick the box. To say, yeah, I checked in at Mangalarti and I checked in at Bhagavatam class and I definitely checked in at breakfast. And I don't mind if you chant 108 rounds, but not your 16 rounds, okay, during class. So, chanting can always go on, like these guys. They run their thing, 24/7. It never stops. So the holy name can always, is our friend, is our companion, is our solace, is our refuge. But don't chant rounds during class or during other activities. You can always chant, but not the 16 rounds, okay? You tell me if it's a little too direct, but people will notice our level of focus, our level of attention. And if you want to have impact, are we online? Are we good? So? Why? Because it's life or death situation. Have you noticed life or death situations when you do Harinam Sankirtan? That these peoples are a quarter inch from self-destruction. The vast majority, right? Quarter inch from self-destruction. They tried everything. Now they're just figuring out, should I kill myself immediately or should I do it in stages? That's pretty much the question that a lot of people are dealing with. Because the pain is so big. Till they hear the holy name, they see a smiling face, they see somebody who's actually there for them. People are not looking for transactional relationships, they're looking for transformational relationships. So don't just move the goods, but give people conscious attention. It's the greatest gift you can give anybody. One time we were in Rishikesh, and we brought usually a dozen friends up there, and we did chanting and dancing near the Lakshman Jhula, the bridge. And then when you chant in India, people join in, right? And then it becomes a mosh pit. And then the traffic couldn't pass anymore over the bridge, so it got blocked up from all the different sides. So people started honking from their scooters. And then they saw, this is India, this is impossible, it's not going to work. So what they do, they park their scooter and they join the Harinam. Right? They just get into it. And so it just became a big thing. And we had a beggar, professional beggar, not a sadhu. He sat on the steps with his little cup and looking sad. And after 10 or 15 minutes of watching us, he decided it's not fun to be a beggar. And he picked up the cup, he put it in his kurta pocket, and he came and he joined the Harinam. And after a short while, he was dancing around very exuberantly. And then he started getting really excited and really flamboyant, like he was really showing off. Have you seen people like that? They're really working it. And then all of a sudden, he reached into his kurta pocket and he pulled out a wad of money. And he started waving it around. And then he started putting money into the pockets of all the devotees who were dancing. And he was showing everybody in the crowd, I'm not a beggar. I'm not a poor person. I'm a generous person. So that's what Harinam Sankirtan does. It transforms beggars into generous people. Fearful people into very Krishna conscious, secure people who are very much aware of what's going on. So this is the magic of the Sankirtan movement. We're here to experience the magic. Did you experience the magic in your life? At some point, the lights went on, and you were like, hey, this works, right? This is amazing. I want more of this. Samyak means complete. It also means congregational. It means everyone is involved. Can we involve everybody? Doesn't sound very convincing.
Yes.
No, but not that one, not the other one. No, that guy, I really don't like that guy. This one, no way. Huh? Prabhupada saw the deficiency, but he chose to see the potential. There was some pretty funky people who walked into that storefront on 26th Avenue. Some pretty wild creatures. But Prabhupada saw the potential rather than the deficiency. Can we see the potential in each other rather than the deficiency? Is that possible?
Yes.
It's an option, right? It's an option that we have every day. And yeah, I can say, it's not filled in, it's not really nicely done, and the sign on the restaurant in the middle is not straight. Have you noticed? The one on the left and on the right is straight, but the middle one is not, And the German or the Swiss or the Croatian in me freaks out, right? Or the builder in me says like, who did this? Huh? Well, like here, something is always making noise. So, or we can say, okay, it's the mature world. It's just part of the purification. So how to have impact? You have to allow Krishna to have impact on ourselves. Like, you have to have gravity, gravitas, like in martial arts. Remember martial arts? Bruce Lee, be like water? No?
Yeah.
Way before your time, right? Just video games, just killing monsters. Okay, so you have to be well-grounded, well-rooted in your tradition. Like these martial arts guys, they were not big buff guys. They were skinny, short fellas. But they were very grounded. And they were very conscious. So in a similar way, Srila Prabhupada, because he had full faith in Krishna and in the orders of his spiritual master. Shraddha Shapte Vishwas Kohe Sudrida Nishchoy Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. If you have firm faith that Krishna's got my back, and it's Krishna's potency, Krishna Shakti Vinahitara Pravartin. I'm not running on my own strength here. We tell people, we're out here to share this with everybody. So why do we use the royal V? Any idea? Because it's not myself truly who is doing this. Just like a policeman, or a postal officer, or any government, any federal employee. Did you notice if you touch them, it's a federal offense? You can go and do jail time for that. So we're not doing this on our own behalf. We're doing this on behalf of Guru Parampara. Now that brings empowerment, but that also brings responsibility, right? Because it means I can't just do and say anything nilly-willy, whatever I want, right? Like if a cop goes into a bank and robs a bank, it's a very severe crime. Because they're doing it while they're pretending to be working for government. So we have to be careful that we don't get confused about what it is that we're trying to achieve here. Now, Japa is really the key for having impact. Good japa. Do you chant your 16 rounds before breakfast? It's not a rhetorical question, you know, like it is a must. Okay, there are exceptions, but not 8 days a week. So you have to have a plan. And that means going to bed early, getting up early, and chanting good rounds. Are you reading Prabhupada's books? Prabhupada said, I only have one complaint, that my students are not reading my books enough. People will ask you, what does it say in that book? Huh? What does it say there about the banyan tree? Have you heard the banyan tree? Urdhva mula madashakam ashvatam prauravyayam parnani yasam veda saveda ved. But if you haven't heard that one, then you go like, banyan tree? Botany? No, it's the Bhagavad Gita. Huh? But yes, banyan tree, it's right in there. Huh? So, you may not know everything, but you have to have an idea. So keep reading every day. Do you have an active reading program? Like we have an active eating program, we have an active sleeping program. Do you have an active reading program? If you read one verse a day, the Gita will take you 2 years. The Bhagavatam will take you 46 years. You can still do it, but you got to start today. If you read 2 hours a day, you can read all the books in 2 years. It's doable, right? How much time on the phone? How much time on the computer? How much time spacing out, talking, you know, whatever. So use your time wisely. Prabhupada was very meticulous how he lived his life. He was very focused. So he had a lot of impact. There's a lot of don'ts, but I'd rather focus on the do's because it's more powerful. Work with the positivity. The negative thing will take care of its own, okay? Work with the positive. Work on the positive. I see right now that there's a lot of people who are eager for mic time. So I declare, I make a declaration, free microphones for everybody, okay? Get yourself one of these, all right? Keep it next to you and tell your mind, okay, I got enough mic time. I'm close to the mic. Huh? It's not about how much mic time you have or how loud you speak. Like Shukadeva Goswami, huh? Like Prabhupada. Prabhupada was sitting in his room in Radha Damodar, but he was heard by the whole world. Why? Because he saw himself as an instrument, as a conduit of Krishna's message. He was not there on his own behalf. He was doing it on behalf of Krishna. So, just witnessing the Harinam, it didn't look that attractive, honestly speaking, because it was quite closed. It was a closed circle. Okay, the weather was not good, this, that, the other thing, we're tired. There's always these extenuating circumstances, right? But there's got to be somebody who has the eye on this. And I'm not just talking about, Natabar or Omroy, but we should all be able to take some of that role and say, okay, we got to open up. We have to actually engage. Why is nobody at the book table? Why is no one going out to talk to people? There are people who stand there and look at you, smile, but nobody talks to them. Okay, maybe somebody lifts a shaker and goes like, maybe, perhaps, would you want to hold that? So don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself. Prabhupada, he wrote the books, he published the books, he distributed them, he did the kirtan, he cooked, he served, he trained the devotees, he did everything. And so did all our acharyas. So please take this opportunity and don't see things as separate. Bhayam dvitiya vinivesha tasyad ishat apitasya viparya smritihi. That fear arises when we see things as separate from Krishna. Have you ever been fearful? What if I miss this exam? What if I miss the flight? What if I miss the boat? What if they don't accept me? But once I know that Krishna loves me, Krishna accepts me, and Krishna in fact empowers me, it becomes much more friendly. It becomes much more exciting. So, now we get to the point. This was just the warm-up. We got 45 minutes. How to distribute Prabhupada's books. So far, in one word or less, what are the key points that you picked up?
Friendship, personal.
Okay, friendship, personal, relationship. What else?
Attention.
Attention, attitude.
People are not looking for transactional relationships, but transformative.
Transformation.
Read the books.
Japa, reading.
Good association.
Good association.
What? Why?
The why.
Focus.
Focus.
Reading. Reading.
Reading, yes.
Team. Peer association.
Team, peer.
Sadhana.
Sadhana.
Smile.
Smile.
Direct.
Not just in your heart, you know. People wanna actually
See it on the face.
see it on the face, you know. The Chinese have a saying that if you don't have a smiling face, don't open a restaurant or a store. Because people may be hungry, but they look in and they go like, nah, I'm going somewhere else. Hmm? What else?
Firm faith on Krishna.
Firm faith in Krishna. Yes, Nishta.
Reading program.
Reading program, you have to have a program. It's not like, yeah, if I got nothing else to do, you know, then I'll do that. How?
Non-separate. Advayam, non-separate. Everything's
Yeah,
separate. Don't
yeah.
think that this is different from that.
And don't be a stray cat. Don't be like a guy who, you know, goes the scenic route and frequents here, but then does his own stuff. Because you will be exposed to a lot of temptation and to a lot of possible difficulty. So don't do that to yourself. You don't want more difficulty in your life, right? Now, of course, it requires balance between unity and diversity, but that's what Prabhupada, you know, he coined that as our motto. It's also called Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. We're not asking you to all be, you know, taking sannyas today, but why not embrace the vision of Srila Prabhupada, of spreading the Sankirtan movement and become empowered by Lord Chaitanya and the Panchatattva, Guru Parampara, Radha Govinda. And then you can do with stride whatever you have to do for Krishna. But you gotta have a mission. Have you noticed that when you're on a mission, you have a different stride, you have a different momentum than when you have no mission? You walk out that door with a book in your pocket, you're a different man. Have you noticed? Because you're not looking for validation. You're not looking for sense gratification. You're looking for what? You're looking for an opportunity to share Krishna consciousness. And that's what makes life exciting. That's what makes life interesting. Because otherwise, it can be a rough world if you're looking for validation, appreciation, or sense gratification. Krishna says in the Uddhava Gita that looking for sense gratification, especially sex life, is the greatest misery in this world. Have you seen people who are suffering from that misery? Of all age groups, of all orientations and genders and interests, miserably suffering. Sometimes their whole life. So spare yourself the grief and take Krishna's words to heart. So we got a Harinam, we have a book table, and people are passing by. As soon as somebody comes close, you can either ignore them, doing the huddle, or you can just close your eyes and go into ecstasy, or you can jump on them and jam the book in their face, or you could just let them watch the Harinam for a little bit and then casually walk by and say, "Do you know what this is?" And you'd be surprised. Over 2/3 of the people say no. And then, as an explanation, you say, well, this explains it all, what this is. You see? And even if they say yes, you say, well, that's very wonderful. Have you seen this before? Same thing if they're close to the book table. I just point to the books and I say, have you seen these before? And then it's yes or no, maybe, and then you can introduce the books. Rather than just, running around trying to stab people with books. Have you seen that? People do that? Does it work?
It can sometimes.
Rarely. Very rarely, right? Maybe if you have a pious, simple person, you know, who are just like, okay, I take it. All right. Okay, I'll give you something. But in general, not the greatest type of an approach. So, and usually it's good to start with a small or a medium books. I like to build people up, you know, in like a needle, out like a plow. I've seen plenty of people running around with saptarishis, you know, with 7 stacks of 7 books and throw them in people's laps and trying to extort $50 and then getting refused, rejected, ignored, and then running up to the next person. And maybe every 20, 30, or 50 people, somebody takes a step. But I'd rather give something to everybody. Do you think that's a good motto? Trying to give something to everybody? You can give everybody a smile, you can give everybody some kind words, you can give everybody the feeling that, hey, I would like to meet these people again. Can you do that? That's our mission. And then sometimes, like yesterday, we went out, Union Square, it was still raining, and the first guy, homeless person, walks up to me. And he says, where can I make a donation? It's not a bad start, right? For the day, huh? And he held something in his hand, and I held my hand there, and he opened it up, and he dropped $10 in my hand. And I said, I already have the books, I love you guys, keep doing what you're doing. And he went back to his 3 bags that were there on the side, and then he was talking with his other friends, and sharing Krishna consciousness in his own way with his people. So, you never know who you have. I was in San Francisco for a few years, and there's a lot of, it's a battlefield, it's a war zone. This is pretty mild here. It's pretty civilized. One man, I won't get into detail, but he was so dirty that you could not notice anymore where the skin was, where the clothes were, where the dirt was. It was like, just like one mountain. And he walked up to me and he said, Hare Krishna. He opened his coat and he had long yellow fingernails and he pulled out the oldest softcover Science of Self-Realization that I've ever seen. It was completely worn out, totally yellow and almost like beaten up by time. And he said, I met Prabhupada, I got initiated, then I don't know what happened. And then he just disappeared. And I was like, what? Who was that? So, there's a lot of people who become affected by Krishna consciousness. So we should be there to keep the conversation going. We need different invitation cards. I'm sorry to say, but what you have right now is not doing it. It's not attractive, it's not memorable, it's not something that I would keep. It has to be something small, smaller than a business card that you can keep in your wallet and you will actually keep with you. All people need is the mantra on one side and a phone number and a social media and an address on the other side. No fancy colors and fonts. Like for instance, this here, you can pass it around. This is from Bogota, Colombia. Neat and clean. This is what we need, okay? Not like these typical flyers and all this stuff with 8 different fonts and different colors that you have to like zoom in, zoom out. I can't see it. Even with my glasses, I can't see it. But this, you can see it from there, right? You see, this is the Maha Mantra, right? And here, all you need to see is, temple, Thursday, time, phone number, address, meditation, spiritual, vegetarian, okay? People have the attention span of goldfish. How long is the attention span of a goldfish? 1 moment. Food? No food. Okay, I'm gone. So you have 1 moment, lava matcha, to make impact. Don't give them big talks. Work with sutras. Have you heard of sutras? So in one word or less, what is your message? What are you trying to give people? Spiritual.
Love.
Love.
How to become happy.
Happy. Happiness.
How to find real love.
Real love.
Peace.
Peace.
Happiness. Peace.
Yeah, say something else. Don't just repeat what the other people say. Be original, you know?
Joy. Krishna consciousness.
Krishna.
Krishna. Real knowledge.
Knowledge.
Selflessness.
Selfless.
Freedom from anxiety.
Freedom.
Joy.
Joy.
Fearlessness.
Fearlessness.
Purpose.
Purpose.
Relief.
Relief.
Peace.
Meaning. Community.
Friendship.
Connection.
That's the connection. Connection.
Plan B. Come on.
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy. Yeah. That's still self. All this is good stuff. These are your punchlines, okay? These are your keywords. These are your sutras. You work with that. Forget about, the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 45-minute presentation. This is New York. You know how much parking costs? Walk over there. You know how much it costs people if they miss the train? Puts them in utter anxiety. Why? Because they got a plan how to get more sense gratification, and that will diminish, right, their quota of whatever it is that they want to expose themselves to. So you have to be focused, and that comes from japa. Then, yes, you can say books in yoga meditation teaches you how to get free from stress, but sometimes that's just a little more than people can actually hear. Many mantras you can listen, like you listen so many melodies from so many kirtaniyas, right? But many of them are a little too fancy. Have you noticed? They're a little too fancy. So you start simple. You start simple. And then you can build up. You build up your own repertoire. So what do? I say, meditation or medication? What's the state of your nation? You have to talk in riddles, in rhymes, in raps, in sutras. You don't have to do it. You can just bond with people, offer them friendship. And yes, some of it is verbal, some of it is non-verbal. For instance, the way how you dress, Like I would say, lose the shirt and get a different hat. Because to me it looks like you're working for the city, for the sanitation department, or for the garbage people, And yeah, I'll give you $1, you're a nice guy, you're taking out the trash. But I'm not picking on you. I could go through the whole range here, But just, people should feel, if I give you $100, this is okay, this is adequate, this is good. You know what I mean? You have to be proper, as they say in Britain. And that's not just your clothing or your style. It's more the way how you deal with people. And how do we learn that? We study Prabhupada. We see how he moved, how he dealt with people. It's not how much you talk. It's more about asking questions. He who asks the questions controls the conversation. So become a master asker. Ask the right kind of questions. There's open-ended, closed-ended questions. There's many seminars, many hours on different platforms that you can watch. This is just the inspiration to get going. If you want to embark on a project, ask questions. Okay, what's the project? What's it meant to lead to? What's the purpose of it? What's the outcome? What's the ideal? What are some of the possible pitfalls? How can we actually pull it off? And then you spend a little time refining your vision, but no paralysis by analysis. You have to actually go out and implement, and then see what works and what doesn't work. Have you noticed sometimes a few things that don't work? Yeah?
Yes.
Like I went in Atlanta with another devotee, and we chanted for the buildings. Have you ever chanted for the buildings? Like there was no people around? Have you ever been in a situation like that? You're just chanting for concrete and glass and steel. And then one lady came out of one of the restaurants, and she brought us $1 or something. But besides that, or we were in Gainesville at the stoplight, and it was maybe 110 degrees, and we were chanting for the cars. Everyone had their window up and their AC going, but we're chanting for the cars. That was quite an... Or in LA on Santa Monica, the mall, we went up and, you know Santa Monica Mall?
Yes.
And we stopped right in front of Victoria's Secret. And there's like 3-floor high billboards of ladies in underwear. And nobody wanted to stop. Nobody was talking to us. Nobody would take a book. And I was telling the Harinam leader that maybe this spot is not ideal. Maybe this is not the greatest spot. Maybe we should go back. And he said, Prabhu, you don't understand. We've stopped here for 50 years. And we're going to stop here as long as I'm alive. So, if the horse is dead, unsaddle, okay? Get off that horse. People are saying the airports are great. What if there's no more flights from that airport? Are you still going to go out there every day to that airport? Prabhupada taught us principles. The details are variables, okay? The venue, the menu, the tenue, but the attitude, that's not a detail. That's a principle. To be attractive, is to be relevant, is to be impactful, authentic. I could talk a lot more, but we got 31 minutes, and I'd like to hear from you a little bit. What are your questions? What are your concerns? What are your issues? But before we get there, what I would love to see here is a little bit, I see tremendous potential. And I know I say that everywhere, but sometimes I actually mean it. Because this is New York, and a lot of interesting personalities come through this, to this place. But I think we can really improve on the teamwork and on the communication. Would you agree? We got a little room for improvement there on that side. And then that will also help with empowerment and with building the team, that people feel actually, yeah, there is space for me to grow and to grow into a role and actually fulfill my potential, actually reach my contribution that I wanted to make to the world. So I come here regularly, and it's always a real joy to be in the association of my old friend Ram Roy Prabhu and the team. And the team is pretty transient, I must say. Not as transient as in London, in Soho Street. It's like every 12 months, everyone's gone. Besides the Pujari that just left this morning, who was here. You know, he's the same, but everyone else is gone. And I wonder, like, what's the, you know, if it's revolving doors, if our attrition rates are just horrific, then how are we going to keep going on? We need to at least train the next generation before we move on, okay? So that should be our motto. We're only here as long till we train the next generation. Are you thinking of training the next generation?
But if nobody trained us?
Huh?
Nobody trained you in the first place, and how can
The
you...
fastest way how to learn anything is by teaching. Have you noticed? Because people will start asking you all sorts of questions. And then you have to dig a little deeper and go back into the books and actually internalize and ask myself the questions. Why am I doing what am I doing? What is really my mission here? So if you want to learn something fast, start teaching. And build your team. That's exactly what Prabhupada did. Questions? Yes?
How do we ask for donations?
I love it. This is New York. You get straight to the jugular, right? Show me the money. There's different ways. You can tell them we don't sell these like in stores. We just accept donations. Or if you're monks, we accept charity. Can you help out? And believe it or not, more than 50% will say, sure. What can I give you? I had a girl from Albania yesterday. Have you heard of Albania?
Of course.
Yeah. It's not a neighborhood of the Bronx or something, you know, it's a country. And we had a chat. She said she did yoga. I showed her the book. and she had Journey of Self-Discovery in her hand. And he said, "Can you give a donation?" She said, "Yeah, sure." She said, "I only have $100. You can have $30." You know. So I gave her 70 back, and then I gave her Bhagavad Gita also on top, and she was really surprised that she get another book for free. So always under promise and over fulfill. Okay. Always leave people with a good impression. Give them something a little more than what they expected. And it's memorable, right? It's memorable, like that. So there's different ways of how to ask. You can say, we just get contributions for the printing, or we're traveling monks, or this helps us sustain our program out here, we're sharing the knowledge, we're doing this. And people want to be part of something. Have you noticed? They watch the musicians, they watch the people, they go to shows, and they're happy to contribute. Why? Because they want to be part of that thing. That's their way of being part of it. Yes?
Sometimes I'll load people up too quickly. I'll give them like a Bhagavatam, Gita, and something else, and then they'll be super excited, but then it's like, oh, I've only got $5. And I'm like, oh, you know, do we take back, or do we just load them up small to start, or what do you?
Yeah, small. Be a little slower on the build up. You know, don't immediately jump in with the big thing, and then, oh, by the way, I got this perfection of yoga for you. You know, and yeah, let me hold these other ones. Bye. You know, that's called a downer. You know, you give them the downgrade. You're just being downgraded to. There's nice ways how to do it. You can ask them, which one would you like to keep? Huh? And then you give them another one on top, so they feel like, okay, I should have only gotten one book. I understand. I didn't give him much, but I got 2. Wow, he was generous. You understand? So don't be too fast. Okay? Otherwise, yeah, you have to backpedal, and backpedaling is not an easy sport. You know, it's not so much fun. It's a bumpy ride. Yes.
How do you stop people?
First of all, you take the people who are already standing there. You don't have to stop them. You know, because here you have to preserve your energy, right, Ram Roy? You have to preserve energy, because as you're passing the 25-year mark, or especially the 35 or the 55-year mark, you notice that you may not have all the gas in the tank to go to Alaska and back. So you just take the people who are standing, the people who are a bit slower, the people who are smiling, who are looking. You look for the right fruits. Not like 3 businessmen talking to each other, dashing to a meeting. Yes, you can jump in there and tackle them, you know, and then put a few books in there and see what's there in the wallet. But you remember that cartoon? Yeah? But just look, be perceptive. That's why being in the most busy spot is sometimes not the best way. That's why subways are really tough sometimes. So you have to really take that moment of surprise. People come around the corner and you say, hey, and they say, hey, and then you give them the book. But if they see you from 50 meters, you know, or 100 yards, then they go like, okay, I'm not going to talk to that guy because I have a train to catch and things to do. Or, oh, 10 people already said no, so I'll also say no. So if you're in an area where people see you, then turn around. Have you noticed that when you turn around, the world looks completely different? Turn around. The world looks different, right? And sometimes that's all it takes to change your mindset. So keep moving, don't get into a rut, don't get, repetitive. And of course, the first thing you do is keep chanting, keep the mantra going, and Krishna will send you a ton of nice people. I met an old man, he just barely made it up the stairs in Union Square. He was like, my heart, Yeah, Bhagavad Gita, I heard of this. I said, this is for you, my friend, And he just pulled out a 20 and said, keep going, boy. And he went off, These were his last words. There was a devotee, he went door to door, and the old lady opened the door, he handed her the book, and she just fell straight on her face. She just, boom, went down, That was it. What an auspicious departure, right? So, humor aside, eye contact, communication, but it's mostly Krishna who will guide you, who to approach. Sometimes you want to go for everybody, but there's a bit too much of everybody, you know, so you may work a little more strategically. If I have the choice, I go for younger guys or middle-aged, single people or two people together, not big groups, not big crowds. It takes a lot of energy. There's always someone who tries to ruin it, so just like that. But Krishna will guide you. He always does, yes.
How do you, sometimes it's hard to keep track of which devotees already asked somebody for a book when they walk past, and then asking them again gives a bad impression, so how do you keep track of that?
Just immediately, as soon as you say hi, you see the response. So you have to be perceptive. You have to be perceptive. And also, you should, you know, work strategically so not everybody's just jumping on the same people. So you have a bit of you work the whole area, not just one spot. And let people see the Harinam. And then periodically you can go up to people, but after they have chanted a little bit and seen the Harinam. Few will come to the book table, but you can also call them over, you can be there, you can hand things out, like that. But it's got to be somebody at the book table. Okay? Yes?
How do you have to warm up, get to know someone, ask questions, kind of like let them know you're a human and you care. How do you do that process and get to the point where you just show them the book without them feeling rushed?
That process is a few moments, you know. There's a few moments. Is a smile, is a eye contact, is a word, fist bump, and then you slow them down, and then immediately, you know, introduce. Doesn't take long.
Yes, I have a similar question, how to break the ice initially, because I struggle with that, like how to make a eye contact first and then
well, you have to actually do the daring thing of looking at people, you know, like you have to actually be there, you know. You can't just say, hey, I'm a nerd, I got 2 master's degrees and 3 townhouses, you know, on Long Island, and I don't care about you guys. You can't go out like you go to the park and you feed pigeons. Pigeons don't mind if you have a bad attitude. They'll eat the stuff that you throw out. But people, they won't. You ever noticed? Because they can sense your attitude. You see why Prabhupada was so successful? He didn't have a superiority or an inferiority complex. Have you met people with superiority or inferiority complexes? Sometimes they have both together at the same time. That's really weird, right? I want everything you have and I hate you for it. So just, you have to actually be Krishna conscious. And that means I can be friendly to everybody. I'm not just looking where are the brown guys, or where are the black guys, or where are the white guys, or where are the red guys, or where are the guys who are well dressed. But you just, you know, compassion. Yes?
You made the point yesterday of being like an athlete in book distribution to really maintain long-term.
Yes.
Could you go a little bit more into that and talk about how to really be regulated and live like a professional athlete?
Professional athlete has a mission, you know, and it's not just getting paid 25 million a year from their club, but or winning the medal or the Olympics, but it's a way of life, which means it's the way how they think, the way they eat, the way they live, they carry themselves, their relationships. It's all part of that. It's a holistic, it's a 360. Doesn't mean you become a fanatic and you block out everything else, but it means you set priorities in your life. And you're ready to say no and to disengage from certain things, extracurricular things that are not conducive for your mission. Okay?
Do you engage with people who are sitting in the park kind of reading?
Yes, absolutely. I engage with everybody.
But then they are reading and kind of focused on something. So
that's wonderful. They know how to read. They're actually literate, you know. I say, wow, you actually read a book. I congratulate you. Huh? Like I ask everybody, so what do you study? And what do you study?
Computer engineering.
Okay, so you actually think sometimes, right? Yeah, that's pretty rare nowadays, you know? So you just appreciate people for what they're doing. Then it's not a disturbance. Because I'm not jamming in there saying, hey, what you're doing is totally useless, you know, look at me. And no, I appreciate them. People want to be appreciated. You know why they're out there in the park? They're looking for friends. They're looking for love. They're looking for appreciation. But the world is giving them everything but that. If you can actually show them genuine appreciation, friendship, and Krishna's love, bhakti, they will eat out of the palm of your hand.
Oftentimes, on book distribution, I find myself caught in conversation, wanting to be a good listener, wanting to hear them while trying to show them Krishna consciousness. Meanwhile, maybe 10 other people that are very bright have passed by in that time. How can I be more efficient on book distribution, knowing who I should stop and talk to longer, who I should, say, okay, thank you.
There are some general guidelines. Normally any type of conversation, 2 to 3 minutes, enough. There's no more need for that. Like yesterday I came, Vasily was engaging with a mother and a daughter, and they were born again, fire and brimstone, fanatical Christians. And I saw he was getting into it, and I said, we're leaving. And he said, what? And I said, we're leaving. And and we had that moment, where I was like, we're leaving, as in now. And then the two ladies, they got a little upset, and I just said, God bless. And they said, God bless you too. And we all walked away happy. Everyone was smiling. So when you meet someone like that, where you see this is not going anywhere, then you just say, God bless, or have a nice day, or I love you too, and you walk. And that's perfectly all right, especially in New York. So you have to have focus, you see? If you're just happy that someone actually engages and hears you, and then they start talking and it goes back and forth, and that can go on for forever. No, not like that. You're out there, you're on a mission. You want to distribute books. And it takes very short time. And often if I see that the person just has got a lot to say, they just want to download on you, either I say just, I'm new here, go to the temple. We have some very smart people there, because I'm a new guy. I don't have all the answers, Give him an invitation card, say, here, go see my friend, He'd love to talk to you. Like that. But usually just by your drive, by your momentum, these people will they won't gravitate towards you. You understand? So you don't go to the guys who are sitting in the park every day and they got nothing to do and they got nowhere to go, You understand? You have to you have to kind of figure out who's who. And that will come with experience. So you have to pay the price of experience, which means 10,000 hours. 7 years full-time service. How long did it take you to learn how to play harmonium?
Maybe like 7, 8 years.
7, 8 years. Huh? That's about normal, right? 7, 8 years. And now we're talking something different. We're talking here open heart surgery, like you meet him, you give him the anesthetic, you open him up, you take out the gunk, you put in Krishna, you tie him back up, you get them back to life, and you put them back on the road nicely. And they walk away with a book. I met a nice person. What happened? What was wrong? Huh? And do you think you can learn this in 90 minutes, Or you paid a few bucks and you got a t-shirt? No. This requires a little more than that. Huh? A little more than that. So are you willing to put in that time? Prabhupada spent 43 years, a lifetime in preparation, before he actually got on the boat. And then it wasn't over. Then all the other stuff happened. Huh? So if you want to have impact, you have to actually invest in your foundation. I was in Govardhan, walking with Burijan Prabhu from Govardhan Palace to his apartment, and he said, Navina, there's something I wanted to tell you for the last 2 years. And I got a little surprised and started paying attention. And he said, right now is the most important time in your life because you're building your foundation. And I'm like, what? I'm doing this now for 37 years. And he's saying, I'm building my foundation. So yes, I'm still building my foundation. Because whatever you do right now will determine what's going to come. If you don't have a strong foundation, nothing will stick. That's why if you try to jump into the kunjas and try to get higher and higher and higher, but you have no actual grounding, you won't be able to contextualize, you won't be able to process all of this. So we have to have a strong foundation. Would you agree?
Yes.
Yes or yes?
Yes.
Please say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice. So, and then he asks, okay, question number one, who am I? I'm a servant. Question number two, who is your Ishtadev? Who is there in your sacred space of your heart? Who do you worship in your heart? Is it Radha Govinda? Is it Prabhupada? Is it your guru? Who is in there? You don't have to say. This is a private matter. You have to know who you're worshiping. You have to know who you want to please. And then question number three, what is my contribution to the ISKCON movement? What do I want to contribute? In other words, what's my mission? And I thought these were very interesting questions. It gave me something to chew on. So it doesn't have to be long discussion. If people are really nice, I take their contact and I invite them. If they're okay, I almost give everybody the contact to come and to stay in touch. With special people, I take their contact. And then 2 days later, I text them and I say, hey, Joe, it was really nice seeing you. I hope you liked the book. Thanks for your sincerity and your generosity. Yeah, any questions, let me know. And I'm there, on Tuesday night. So and about 80% will respond to that. You haven't gotten them here yet, but, the rapport is there. But they will notice you're on a mission. You don't have all the time in the world to spend with them. All right? So follow up. Follow up. We got Bhakti School. We got all this, and then we have the School of Life. It's called Harinam Sankirtan. Have you heard of the School of Life? Harinam Sankirtan? Yeah, you learn everything you need to know in life while doing the yagya of Harinam Sankirtan. You can't learn this stuff. Even in psychology, MBA, marketing, you won't get there because this is a whole other level. Other questions? Yes.
Sometimes when we distribute books, we get the response that, oh, I've read this book so many times.
Oh, wonderful, I have a new one. Have you seen this one? Have you seen that one? We got a whole range of books. So show them other options. Or say, make a gift to a friend. Or just support the cause. Or just congratulate them. And then people will say sometimes, hey, I just want to give you a donation because I like you guys. I like what you guys are doing. Like that guy yesterday when we started out. So when somebody says, oh, I already have a book, and you go like, oh no, he already has a book. No, terrible, right? And the guy goes like, did I say something wrong? I didn't want to offend you, So, I think that's one of the lesser problems that we have, right?
I noticed in myself that sometimes when I'm at the book table and people just stop, they just stop for a second, and that's an important time. And it takes 3 seconds for them just to go. I notice how do I because in my mind, how do I see them and I just.
You have to get over the mind fog, and that comes from good japa. You have to actually be focused in your sadhana. So immediately Krishna will tell you, okay, incoming, all right, have you seen these before? No, all right, hand them a book and get right into it. Otherwise they're just gone. You only have a moment. That's all you have. Prabhupada saw that Coast Guard on Boston Harbor, in his little Coast Guard boat. And Prabhupada smiled at him, and he smiled back and waved. And 4 years later, he became a devotee. Why? He saw Prabhupada. One glance, that's all it takes. and boom, the seed is planted. But if you have the chance, give them a book, invite them, make connection. People are out there, they're looking desperately. Where is beauty? Where is power? Where is fame? Where is wisdom? Even, where is renunciation? How can I get rid of all of this, People are looking for that. So they're looking for Krishna. Yes?
How do we stop our mind from making excuses? So sometimes our mind is like, oh, it's easier to sit on the mat, it's easier to go back to the temple, it's easier to, nobody's pushing us, we don't have quotas or anything like that. It's just what we're trying. How do you make our mind not make excuses to them?
Whatever the mind says, you do the opposite. Okay? The mind says, sit down on the carpet now. You say, no, I'm going to go distribute books now. The mind says, I'm going to stay in bed now and pull the blanket over my head. And no. It's more fun to go on Harinam Sankirtan, right? Yeah. Of course, if you're sick, you have to, get well. But if you're just mental and the mind is trying to get the upper hand, just ignore the mind. And believe it or not, the mind likes activity, so the mind will tag along. Oh, who are you? Oh, no, I'm just coming out here. I thought you wanted to sleep. You wanted to stay back in the room. No, it's no fun there. I'm coming along. And then, believe it or not, one day will come when you will lie down and the mind says, hey, what's going on with you? Let's get out there. Let's go distribute books. Can you believe it? One day, that day will come. And you look at your mind and you go like, what happened to you? And the mind says, Hare Krishna, I'm a devotee. I'm a devotee. I like this Hare Krishna. It's no fun just being, grumpy and miserable. Believe it or not, even the mind will actually see the benefit of Krishna consciousness, but don't hold your breath. So, good association, having peers, also having an authority structure. There has to be somebody who is accountable and who takes care of other people and helps them lovingly to do the right thing. Not that we have big gaps and everyone is just very spaced out. Yes?
How do we deal with people who already have firm faith in what they believe, saying...
You just wish them well. You just appreciate them and wish them well. That's all you can do. That's all it takes. And believe it or not, they will appreciate you right back. There's sincere people in every demographic. And many also will... Yesterday I had that family, that... Colorado, yeah. And she said she speaks a little German, that she was on a mission there, in Germany. So I spoke a few words in German, and I said, you Mormons are great people, you helped us build our temple in Spanish Fork and in Salt Lake. And I'm on mission year number 41, So, it's possible. And you just give them appreciation. And guess what? They made a donation, they took a book, and they were very happy. But it starts with appreciation. I was in San Antonio, Texas, and one lady in a big Merc, lowered the window, and she had a headscarf, and I handed her the Gita, and she said, I'm from Pakistan. And I could have gone, oh, Pakistan. Not again. And I said, Pakistan? That's amazing. I love Pakistan. And she said, really? You know Pakistan? I said, yeah, Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad. Which one? And she was speechless. And we talked a little bit, and I said, can you give a donation? And she said, sure. And she handed me her credit card. She said, $50. And then I asked just to check. I said, do you know what that book is? And she said, we're doctors. We're educated people. Of course I know what that book is. This is the Bhagavad Gita, Just to make sure, I don't have the whole family coming back at me. Trying to take revenge. And so, when you appreciate people, they will appreciate you right back. Learn a few languages, but the universal language is empathy. It's Krishna consciousness, and everyone can resonate with that. So, I'm very excited to see the potential and the prospect that we have, and the facility who is growing and developing, that we can actually have a place where we can send people from all over the country to learn the art, the lifestyle, the practice of Harinam Sankirtan. To not just do your own thing, but to be part of a mission, to be part of something bigger. And if you do that for a few years, guaranteed, money back guarantee from this seminar, you can do anything in this world. I have friends who went out after years and years of Harinam and book distribution, and they make $250,000 or $500,000 in their first year. Easy, easy. Why? Because you've learned everything that there is to learn. And you also learned on what's really important, what's really valuable. And that is pleasing Guru and Krishna. But the Yuga Dharma is Sankirtan, and it is a team sport. It's not me against the rest of the galaxy. And I don't care who your Diksha Gurus are, because I respect and love them all. But we're on the same team. So, and don't get lost in the forest, in the extracurricular, you know, in the hi-fi, Wi-Fi, in the so-called more esoteric or more advanced stuff. If you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's all there. It's all there. And they're all working together to please Lord Chaitanya by Harinam Sankirtan. And then you'll have that darshan, Prem Sankirtan darshan, which is, they saw Lord Chaitanya dancing in all the 7 kirtan groups simultaneously. What a darshan. Can you imagine? You see 7 Lord Chaitanyas? Now that's ecstasy. Would you agree? That's quite some ecstasy. Huh? But that was only revealed to those who had that inclusive, that teamwork vision. The majority of the people thought, he's only dancing in my group. Huh? My guru, my project, my zone, my score. No. I don't care how many books you distributed individually or how many great kirtans you led. I care about what's the impact of the team. Right now we have good potential, but we don't have that much impact because we need to improve our team dynamics. And that requires everybody, because the chain is as strong as its weakest link. So thank you for taking part in this Hare Krishna experiment, this Harinam Sankirtan venture. It is the Yuga Dharma, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Mahaprabhu already declared it. It is a success. The only question is, will I be part of that success? Well, everybody has to answer that question for themselves. Last one.
You said we can improve on our communication.
Yes.
How?
One of my mentors told me this spring in Mayapur, after we had a good chat, and I asked him the same question. He said, listen as well as you speak. People are not looking for smartness, they're looking for hardness. So listen as well as you speak. And the bonus one you had?
It's pretty much the same thing. You know, every department supports every other department.
Yeah.
And I've had the problem of getting tunnel vision. How do we work together as one unit, regardless of what we're doing, so that we enhance the...
Have you seen those guys on the basketball court down there? Huh? You have to be able to do the blind pass, because you know the guy's there. He's there, because that's where he's supposed to be. And he's going to score. I can't score, because I got 2 guys blocking me here. Huh? Like you're at the reception. You just have to pass the ball to the other guys, because you have to stay there. If you start running around the building trying to chase down loose ends, right, then no one's there. And you know what happens when no one's at reception? You know what happens when no one's at reception. It's game over, right? It's technical foul, you know, like the door rings and people start bashing and people start taking stuff. So you can't leave your position, but you're not the guy who's going to score. You have to pass the ball and set other people up. Are you cool with that? All good, right? And then there has to be systems of communication where we're not offended that, oh, he told me that my invitation card sucks, or that I have to, you know, get a shave and get a new hat. But that people are actually, hey, somebody who criticizes me is my friend. The opposite of love is not hate, it's indifference. It's people who just ignore you. If somebody actually cares about you, they still tell you stuff. Otherwise, they just write you off. They just say, you know, landfill, or, you know, dog food, or whatever. They may not say or think anything. But people who actually give us attention, even if it's sometimes a little painful, they actually help us to improve. Because otherwise, if the place, okay, we had Rath Yatra, it's a big yagya, there's a lot of action. What experience do new people have when they come in here? Does it look like Howrah train station? You been to Howrah train station? It is an experience. Huh? So, will they make it alive to the bathroom and back? How many people will accost them and try to bamboozle them or you know, hijack them or sign them up for their project, you know? Like, I always count from the day I get picked up at the airport to the day I leave at the airport. How many people try to recruit me, you know, amongst my own group, you know? How many people try to sell me something or tell me something? So we have certainly a lot of potential here. But the wonderful thing is that when people actually open this book, and you can do that when you distribute books, there are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible. And in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Wow. Did you just make that stuff up? No. That's straight from the source. Okay? Here, for you. So, this is substance. This is the user's manual for the galaxy. So, give people the benefit of having Prabhupada's words directly as it is, and you will see how Krishna will give you whatever you need in order to reach people. And I will close with this little story. A friend of mine, Narayan Pandit, he was stationed in Shanghai, China. Ni hao ma. And in the biggest train station of the world, he would distribute Prabhupada's books, but the CCTV and cops and undercover and security, he got arrested countless times. And he would always say the same thing. I have Chinese wife. I have children. I need to make money. Where did you get the books? I bought them on market. I'm selling them here. I have to make money. I have family. Okay, get lost, but don't come back. One time a man asked him, what are you trying to do? He said, China had such an old spiritual culture, but now they're just running after money. How are you trying to change that? He said, I want to put these books in every library, in every university of the country. The man said, show me. So he looked at the books and he said, okay, how much a set? And a set of Bhagavatams in Chinese is $500. It's pretty expensive, but it's very beautiful, very, very deluxe print. So the man handed him a bag. He handed him a bag and he said, I'll sponsor 100 sets. 100 times 500?
50,000.
Yeah, 50K. He handed him 50K and said 100 sets. So that devotee, he put the 100 sets out. He sent the man shipping receipts, testimonials from the librarians, pictures, appreciations from students and professors. And the man was so touched by his accountability and by his responsibility. You know what responsibility means? The ability to respond. If you don't have the ability to respond, you're not responsible. If you don't answer your phone, your email, don't take a position. And he said, okay, I will sponsor another 100 sets for Hong Kong, another 100 sets for Taiwan, another 100 sets for that region. He sponsored 800 sets. He donated 400K. Why? You answer the question. Why?
He liked his attitude.
He liked his attitude. What else?
The person was responsible.
The person was responsible. Appreciation.
He was dedicated.
Totally dedicated. Sticking it out in the toughest place.
He felt like it was contributing to the spiritual mission. Yeah.
He was contributing. He felt he was part of the solution.
Honesty.
Honesty.
Sincerity.
Sincerity, yeah, all of that. So you've got what it takes. Please build teams, and then let's play. Let's play Harinam Sankirtan. Like those guys are playing, for whatever they're playing. We should be more eager, more enthusiastic, because we got something that's actually worthwhile, that's actually making a difference in the world. And you will meet people who will show you that appreciation, who will tell you that that book changed their life, that was just what they needed. They were about at the end of their wisdom. So thank you very much for being part. And I know some of you are here just for a short time, but I know you're going many places and you're starting the Harinam Ashram and the Sankirtan team and the book distribution. So don't leave the books out. Don't think that just Prabhupada did the chanting, but he gave the classes, he moved the books, he moved the prasad, and he was available to answer people's questions and to hear them out and to make friends. So much so that the Hells Angels said he was one of us, that the hippies said he's one of us, that the academics, they said he's one of us. The straight and square people, he said, oh, he's one of us. Why? Because Prabhupada was Krishna conscious. He didn't have an attitude. He didn't think himself as something better or something different. He was just happy to share Krishna's message, to share Krishna's gift with the world. And because Prabhupada wasn't in it for himself, Prabhupada wanted to make Krishna famous, Krishna made it his business to make Prabhupada famous. And all the others who are building their brand, and have you heard of Sai Baba?
Yeah.
The guy with the fuzzy hair? They built a city for him in South India, a city. Millions and millions of followers. Now it's a ghost town, less than 20% occupancy. Why? Because cults and cult leaders have a very short shelf life. He died. Guess what happened? He died. The inevitable happened. And now the lights are out. So we should learn and not make similar mistakes. We appreciate charisma, we appreciate individual talent, but we should also know yad yad vibhutimat sattvam shrimad urjitam evavam tat tat evat shrigachatvam mamate jonga sambhavam. All the spark of Krishna's splendor. So whenever you see someone or something beautiful, instead of thinking, I want this, I need this, I deserve this, we should think, it's just a spark of Krishna's splendor. How beautiful is Krishna? Have you noticed the last few days? Krishna having his mischievous smile, looking at you, with his greatest weapon, that little flute. Noticed? Yeah, that's the original beauty, the original potency is there in Krishna. And he will reveal it to us when we are willing to be an instrument of his compassion. Thank you very much for being here and dedicating yourself to this mission. There's no more direct way to share Krishna consciousness than through the distribution of these literatures. And the easiest and most attractive and most fun way how to share Prabhupada's books is together with Harinam Sankirtan. It's almost illegal. It's like sense gratification. It's like a Sunday feast. It's like, yeah, we're doing this. And people actually get it. People actually get it. Have you noticed? They actually get it when they see a bunch of happy people. But we have to be the happy Harrys, not the depressed or melancholic. In our heart of hearts, we can be, whichever mood, whichever rasa you have. But thank you very much. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki jai. Tonight at 6:30 to 8, we have Prabhupada night in 26 2nd Avenue. So we're going to talk a few Prabhupada stories, if anyone is free. I know you're on a clock, but it's just to put it out there. And tomorrow's Bhagavatam class. You heard of Bhagavatam class, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we still do that sometimes.
Navina Nirada Prabhu ki Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.